Hey, girl,
Uh,
hey.
and I had to do this so y'all can see my nails. But hey, y'all, listen. This is Bold Conversations with B. I am your host, Brandy, and I have my guest here, as you can see. But before I introduce her, first off, I want to just put out say thank you to my sponsors, which is B Anderson Collection, which is my lipstick line. Live your life in color, periods. The lipsticks right now are $10. They are having a phenomenal sale, so go buy, purchase your color, but live your life in color. Live a little bit, put a color on. Anyway, so got that all out of the way, got my sponsor out of the way. So listen, I am really excited. Y'all are in for a super duper treat. My nail artist, Gracie. And Gracie, pronounce your last name because I'm not really good at those type of things.
Es cariño.
Okay, see, look, she said it way better than I did. Gracie has been my nail tech for my nail artist. I don't want to call her a tech, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. But she's been my nail artist for the past 2 years, and we have grown. But before I share my story, Gracie, I want you to introduce yourself and tell a little bit about just you in general. You know, just tell us about you a little bit.
Okay, well, my name is Gracie. I'm a makeup artist, a hairstylist. I'm a nail artist, a nail technician as well. I'm a mom. Been married for 10 years. I'm an artist overall. I think I see art everywhere. I love pink. I've been having pink hair I think 7 years. Shout out to my hairstylist Christina because she's been taking good care of me. Um, but yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Well, let me tell y'all before we get in, let me tell y'all how I met Gracie. So probably during COVID. Was it during COVID? I think it was COVID. Was it COVID?
I'm not sure to be
I
honest.
know. I don't know either. But anyways, I joined a online university by a makeup artist called Tayana Robinson, and she's out in like Virginia, that area,
Mhm.
Baltimore, things like that. So, anyways, we were online, and at first it was originally called Makeup Mogul University. And then it went over when she was relaunching, it went out to becoming Beauty Funnel Academy or something, Beauty
Yeah.
Mogul Academy or something like that. So, anyways, this new cohort was coming through, and Gracie was actually a part of this new cohort. I had already been grandfathered in. So, any new cohorts or any new content that was coming out by this makeup artist, I've already invested so much money that I just got grandfathered in. So, I kept seeing this girl posting because everything was online. We were on Facebook. We had a Facebook community. All our content was online in design. And this young girl kept posting her nails, these different color concepts. And she was saying she was in Fort Worth. And I was like, girl, ain't nobody in here from Fort Worth. Like, where you come from? Who is you? And mind you, I had already had a nail tech at the time who was launching her career. And I had known her for, several years. I have been knowing her, way back when, and I was supporting her. And then I wanted to support you because you just kept on posting about your nails, and I kept on seeing all the nails, arts, and stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna go see her one day. I'm gonna support her. And honestly, the intent was just to support you that one time. I was like, I'm just gonna go because we're in the same group. We're both from Fort Worth. I'm gonna just go support her. Well, let me tell y'all the story before we kick this whole thing off. So I go and see her. Finally make the time to go to book an appointment with her. And she did my nails. It was around Christmas time, probably I think it was December, and they
Yeah.
were blue. And she did this raise on my nail, and I don't know what to call it, but you did this raise where I had like the snowflakes, and it was blue, and it was just so
Hmm.
pretty. And I remember sitting in the car in Starbucks, and I told you this. I was sitting in the car in Starbucks, and I'm contemplating like, should I commit to Gracie. Like, because I was wrestling. I know that's crazy. But and I was sitting in the car, and my girlfriend was like, "Do you like your nails?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." Like holding them up, looking at them, admiring them. And she was like, "Well, just stick with the person that you like." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." Well, then I'm grabbing my Starbucks coffee. I don't even think it was coffee. It was like a latte or something. And the young girl says to me, "Oh, I really like your nails." And I was like, "All right, fine. I'm sold. I'm going to
Nice.
her." And we've been together since then. But enough about me and about us. That's kind of how we met. So, Gracie, to kind of give people, to help them understand like who you are and who you are as a human. You just mentioned that you were married, you're a mom, you're also an entrepreneur. Tell us a little bit of like how you met your husband and your child, the famous. If he ever watches this, I want him to know how famous he is because his name is Dominique, and everybody that comes into the shop probably has met him at least one time. I've
Yeah.
had I have moments where I've seen him multiple times,
Yeah.
but we have at least met him one time. So tell us a little bit about like how you met your husband.
Um, so I want to say I was a freshman in high school. Shout out to everybody, Everman. Uh, he didn't even go to my high school. He would like pull up, looking all cool because he was like one of the only ones that had a car. And so he would like pull up to the high school and pick up his cousin and his best friend. And well, long story short, on that part, my best friend went out with his cousin, and so when I would, and I live like my high school is like right, like you could see the high school from across my house. So it was like right there. So I would chill outside the school and wait for all my friends to be picked up. So like my husband would come up and pick up his friends and stuff, and then I would hang out with my best friend. And so how my best friend was going out with the cousin, we were just all like in the same circle.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, like that first interaction was that my best friend needed a ride, and she's like, "Oh, I couldn't give her a ride because my mom wasn't home." And I was like, "Well, just ask him, like ask him," which was my husband, like just ask him. And she was like, "Ah, yeah, yeah, you're right. Let me ask him." So she asked him, and she started getting rides with him and the cousin. And that's how she ended up, going out, whatever. But I remember one time walking to my house after like she was leaving, and she yelled at me from his car. She's like, "Hey, he wants to tell you something." And I was like, "Okay." So I go up, and he's like, "Oh, he wants to know if you can go out with us." And I was looking at her, and I was like,
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if my mom's gonna let me. She's like, "Well, don't tell me, tell him." And so she was kind of like making us interact.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, I remember like lying to my mom and telling her like, "Yeah, they're my best friend and my husband were siblings." And I was telling my mom like, can I go out with her? Like that's her brother." And I remember like going out to like the botanical gardens, and that was like our first date.
Yeah.
And from there, yeah, that was like our first day. I remember like not liking him. He was like rude and stuff, but like my best friend and the cousin like left us alone, and we were kind of like interacting, kind of like just bullying each other. But obviously, he makes you laugh, and that's the thing with girls. Like if you make us laugh, that you get us. So he made me laugh, and after that, we just kept talking, and I think we started going out within like 2 weeks of knowing each
Yeah.
other. I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And he ended up actually leaving to work in Wisconsin, and he left for like months.
Oh
Yeah, he
wow.
ended up leaving for months, but we stayed going out for like 3 months. And
Yeah.
but I felt single. I felt like I didn't feel like I had a boyfriend because we had just met for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I remember messaging him like, "Hey, let's just like end things because like you're over there, I'm over here, like, and if you come back and then we're both like single, and we'll make it work." Which, long
Yeah.
story short, he ended up coming back like way months later,
Yeah.
and I was single, he was single. And so we started going out, and like 10 years later, like we're still here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I get pregnant. I got pregnant at 16, had my son
Yeah.
at 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been 10 years. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. To me it's so crazy cuz I'm like it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. 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 So y'all
Yeah.
been married for 10 years. You have your son, Dominique. That's the famous Dominique. He'll
Yeah.
forever be famous. Because he's there. He sees you. He sees the work that you're doing. Let's talk now. Why a nail artist? Like, where was the beginning to lead you to becoming a nail artist today? How did this all start? What's the origin story?
So I remember my goal, like when I graduated high school, my goal was like I still have it in my head. I remember like I had it set in stone. I was like, I'm gonna leave the house. I don't know why. I was, you know how teenagers we just want to like run away. But I was like, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go to Colorado. There's an art institute there. I'm gonna sign up to the art
Mm.
institute, and that's it. Like that was my goal. Like I'm gonna graduate, go to the art institute. Like I just knew art. I don't know what with art, but I just knew I wanted to go to the art institute, and I
What
still.
made you think that you wanted to do art? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like, let's go back. Like, what made you know that you wanted to do art?
I've always been like a doodler. I remember getting like in
Mm.
trouble in school because I was doodling like on my homework on like while they were like the teacher was presenting. I remember like them taking away my piece of paper because they were like, you know, you need to stop doodling, pay attention. Or
Yeah.
I remember, girl, I've been a hustler. That actually reminds me, I've been a hustler since. Woo, I remember. I think it was like fifth grade. I would sell journals, like regular journals, like you know,
Yeah.
the notebook journals, and I would sell them. I don't know how much, maybe like for $1, $5. But I would doodle all over like the front cover, and
Yeah.
I would doodle like just I don't know, just anything that they liked, and I would doodle all around it. But it was doodles, but they were really creative and stuff. And I would do like graffiti and stuff, and I would sell them. And I remember also doing it was like these. I don't know if you remember these plastic strings that you kind of like
Oh
put.
yeah. And you used to tie them under and stuff,
Yeah.
and you make keychains and bracelets and stuff.
Yes, I would
Yeah.
carry a binder folder thing with them, and I would like sell them. I remember having like stickers of prices on them,
Yeah.
and I would tell people like, oh, however you want your keychain or bracelet, like choose your colors and stuff, and I will sell that too. So I've always been artistic. I remember even
Yeah.
in high school. That's when I started getting into like doing my friends' hair. And since I live so close to the high school, they would come over to my house early in the morning, and I would curl their hair, or they would come over to my house after school and I would paint their nails. I have pictures of when I used to do like manicures, and back then like drawing Converse and like Cookie Monster and Elmo were so popular back then. And I remember like I have pictures of that, the cheetah print. So it's
Yeah.
always been, like it's always been in me to be artistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So, yeah, so talk about like, okay, so now we know where it came from.
yeah.
So, what's the origin behind becoming a nail tech? A nail tech or a nail artist? What led you there? Where did it start?
So I took a year after high school and I was working at the mall. And by then I was already working 3 years because I was working like during high school, I was working at the mall. And then
Yeah.
another year after I graduated. And I was really good at it. I mean, I was a manager and I was doing very well. But I remember just feeling like this is not it for me. Like, there's more. Like, this cannot be like the end. Like, this can't be
Yeah.
the end goal. Just be here at this mall. Like, no. So I remember telling my husband, like, hey, I want to go to school. And that was when, like, YouTube was really big and there was, like, makeup gurus. They were starting to become. I remember watching, like, Manny Mua. You remember?
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
barely starting. Jacqueline Hill, like
Yep.
they were, like just starting. And so I remember like doing my makeup, and Instagram was also like very very new, and I remember posting on there. And I remember just thinking like, okay, makeup, like why not? I'm really good at it. I've always
Yeah.
worn it since I can remember, because I remember, yeah, being always insecure and wearing makeup since I was like in fifth grade, I think. Get
Mm.
powders from my mom, and wearing eyeliner and stuff. So
Yeah.
I've always, yeah, and like I said, my friends would ask me to do their makeup, And so yeah, I remember just thinking makeup like that's perfect for me. It's artistic, and it can work with my schedule because I have a kid. So
Yeah.
that it just aligns perfectly, you know. And so I joined a makeup academy in Dallas, CMC makeup school, and it was like
Oh,
a
wow.
yeah, it was like a month thing, but it was like all day. I remember
Yeah.
having to drive 2 hours every morning for that whole month, like Monday to Friday. Drive there, get there, I think like 8, 9 in the morning, and I wouldn't leave till 6. But it was like every day, every
Wow.
day. Yeah, but I got my certificate, and I remember instantly. I remember having friends like, "Oh, can you do my prom makeup and stuff like that?" And so I started with the makeup, and then in the course they taught a little bit of hairstyling.
Yeah.
So like I learned a little bit of hairstyle and stuff like that. And so that's how I started. And I was doing that for like a year. And I was following this influencer on Instagram. Her name is Nene Smalls. I don't know if you know her. She's like this
Mm-mm.
tatted up. No,
Mm-mm.
well, she's like this popular like Houston and like Dallas, Texas Instagrammer or influencer, and she posted how her friend was doing her makeup, and this is a guy. So this, I'm like, wow, this guy's doing the makeup, and obviously like you could tell he was gay, you know, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, like he's so cool. So I started following him, and then she
Uh-huh.
posted him again another time, and she was like, that he did her nails, and I was, and that like a light bulb just like turned
Yeah.
on in my brain. It just switched, something snapped, and I was like, that is so cool. Like he's a guy. First of all, he's a guy. He's gay. He embraces it, and he does makeup and he does nails. Like you don't
Yeah.
see that. You don't see that. That's different, and that's something that I kind of always wanted for myself, to be different.
Yeah.
And I went to my husband again, and I was like, hey, you know what? I think I want to do nails, and he was just like, go for it. And
Yeah.
remember, like I think it was like our income tax. We got our income tax, and I was
Yeah.
like, I looked up a school. I looked up for a school, which that's like a whole other story with dealing with schools. But I finally found a school that just taught nails, and it wasn't like makeup, hair, and nails
And
cosmetology.
now, yeah.
It was just nails, just a manicure program, and I went to it. It was pretty affordable, and I went for it. And yeah, that's how I started. That's where I got into nails. As soon as I started like learning and practicing, I loved it.
So I want to, so thank you for sharing that. Like, that is super dope. And, for someone that may be listening, for someone who's daughter, child, whatever, or even themselves, if you're the person, you're the young adult watching, um, the feeling that you had when you saw somebody else doing something that was, you were inspired by it and it was an aspiration for you. Because sometimes some young adults can see somebody else doing something, and I've done this for myself, full transparency. I'll see somebody and I'll be so inspired by them, but I know that's something that I don't want to do, I don't desire to do. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I have done is that I've embraced my fashion. I'm very colorful and creative when it comes to my fashion. So watching other stylists or people who thrift, and or they thrift, or they take clothes that are older or vintage or whatever, and they repurpose them to give them a different look, or they take their normal clothes and give them different looks. So I follow a lot of stylists that repurpose clothes, or women who do that a lot, because I like the creativeness of it. Like, oh, you can put this pattern with this one, or you can pull things together. So, tell me a little bit more about, like, okay, so now you're doing nails. You decided to do them. You go to school for it. Like, who was your first client? Like, what did that look like for you to start marketing yourself?
Yeah, I remember like my high school friends.
Mm.
Yeah, my
Mm-hmm.
friends. I got so lucky. It's crazy because you think the people that aren't gonna support you, are gonna
Yeah.
support you, but like
Yeah.
the people that showed up, and like I would get models at school, and I remember posting like, "Hey, $5 nails or free nails if you're my model," and I still have pictured like who were the people that came to me during
Yeah.
those times. But yeah, high school. Obviously, like family members, those were like my first clients. And then obviously, like they'll either come back or they never came back because they were horrible. My nails were horrible. And then obviously, like I would cut people. Like it was bad. It was bad. I'm surprised, like I kept going because some people just give up.
But that, you know what? But that's good. You know what? I'm so glad that you said that. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you said that, because in your beginning stages, you are going to mess up. You are going to make mistakes. You're going to make errors. You're going to say something you don't mean. You're going to do things that you don't, you just like it's very accidental
Hmm.
because you're growing. You made the decision to do it. Now it's the work of doing,
Yeah.
and that comes with the process. So like, tell just a little bit of that. Like what was that like as you were going through that?
Girl, it's hard. Like I had times where I cried. Like right now that you're talking, like I'm starting to remember like okay, so there's this one time I got hit up by a girl and she was like, "Hey, I need you to do me and like three or four of my family members' nails." And I remember being so excited. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna charge $20, $20 to like go to their house." And like I had like my little portable table that I had in my restroom because I used to work for my restroom. And I remember taking all like my whole kit and arriving to their house. And girl, I did the first set, and I thought, like, even when I look back at the picture, because I still have it, it wasn't that bad. Like, I feel like it wasn't that bad, but I did cut her. I did cut her. So I finished her nails. I did like the first girl's nails, and
Yeah.
then the second one started sitting down, and I started doing her nails. And I don't know what happened with her, the one that if I did something wrong during that time, but I remember the girl came back to me and she was like, "Hey, so we don't want you to do our nails anymore. Um Plus you cut me and something, yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And yeah, that's fine. And like I don't know, it was like so awkward and I just like
Yeah.
yeah, I was just like in a shock, which I was like, "Oh my gosh." So they kind of like left me alone and I started packing up my stuff and I remember like driving home and just crying. I was just crying. I remember calling my husband. I was just like, "They didn't like their nails and da 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 da." And
Yeah.
yeah, but like I had clients still, like for the rest of the week. So I had to like kind of like man up and do it. And like, like I couldn't give up. I couldn't just cancel them. I mean, I could have, but I don't know. I didn't cross my mind to do it. But yeah, girl, that was horrible. That was like one of the like worst experiences. I think like somebody actually coming up to me and telling me like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, no." Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
hard.
like, when you think about that experience, like looking at you now, because we're gonna kind of fast forward, but like looking at you now, when you look back at that experience, like how do you feel about that?
Mm, I think I'm just proud that I didn't give up. I didn't
Mm,
let that, discourage me.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy that even now I feel like I'm not perfect or I'm not like, oh my god, like this amazing artist. I feel like there's
Yeah.
so much I have to work on, so much. There's still so much more that I can, learn and do. And yeah, so I look back and I'm just like, wow. I don't know, it's just crazy to me that I was able
Yeah.
to overcome that and other because I've had other worse experiences too. But yeah, I'm just proud. I'm just proud that I didn't give up, and
Hmm.
that just kind of pushes me now because I'm still going through some stuff that I'm just like, okay, if like if I were able to overcome that, I could keep going. Like this, whatever I'm
Yeah.
going through now, this is nothing. And there's been so much worse.
Yeah. Do you, at any point throughout your entrepreneurship career, did you have people who didn't support you or said things to you or made you feel some type of way because of the decisions that you were making?
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's with every business, especially like even from the beginning to like now. There's always gonna be those people that either like, for example, pricing. They'll either
Yeah.
stop coming to you for pricing, or even for example, like maybe family members or friends that feel like entitled to getting the service for free or
Oh, you better talk about it,
it's like
girl.
no, you're. I feel like you should actually be supporting me and actually giving me a little more, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. So it's just stuff like that where it's just like, I don't know. But yeah,
yeah,
there's people that are gonna say bad things.
yeah,
I mean, I notice when people don't come back, and I'm actually starting to like step out of my own comfort zone and hit them up like, hey, how are you?
yeah,
Are you okay? Like, is there something? Like I'm starting to like step out and just hit them up and just be like, hey, how are you? Is everything okay? Just kind of
yeah.
miss you. Just trying to see like, is everything okay? Or stuff like that.
That's so courageous and bold of you because their actions are showing you how what you can perceive as what they may think. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you can take that and be like, well, you probably aren't coming because of my prices. You're probably not coming because you didn't like your nails. You're probably
Hmm.
not coming because you didn't like me. Whatever it may have been,
Yeah.
that's so bold.
And I did that just yesterday. Yesterday I was thinking so much because I did your video, and I was thinking so much about one of my clients. And I haven't seen her I think in a month or two. And I met
Yeah.
her. I looked down to like my Instagram and I'm like, I need to look for her, and I found her. And I sent her a voice thing. I was like, I'm gonna just send a voice thing. Lately I've
Yeah.
just been like, don't overthink, just send it, just say it, however
Yeah.
it comes. And I sent her a voice thing and I was like, hey girl, where you been? I miss you.
Yeah.
Like, is everything okay? Let me know, girl. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
And she messages me instantly. She's like, oh my god, girl, you're so sweet. I actually got a new car, and like I'm kind of dealing with money and like trying to catch up. But she's like, I miss you
Yeah.
so much. I'll probably go next month. It's me and my husband's anniversary. Da da da. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so I sent her another voicemail, and I'm like, oh my gosh, well, I'm just glad you're okay. Like I'm just glad
Yeah.
you're okay. That's all I was, thinking about you. I haven't seen you in a while, and so like I feel better too that
Yeah.
I found
And
out.
that's so good because in the work that we do, we end up building these relationships with people. It's no longer I'm just doing your nails. I especially when you start to feel connected with people, you now build this relationship. And when you build this relationship, you then want to know, like, I hope you're doing okay. Like, there's a little bit of a business aspect to it to be like, yo, girl, like, hey, like, come through. But then there's also this humanizing to it too, because then she felt open enough to be like, yo, I've been, these things or whatever, because you never know what somebody's going through. It may not, we think as a service provider, that it could be us, they didn't like my services, or my prices are too high or whatever. But honestly, sometimes it's that they're going through something.
Yeah, because it did
They found they
mind. That's my mind. I was like, dang, what's the last nail set that I do? Maybe she didn't like it.
yeah, and we overthink that.
Yeah.
And really, in reality, sometimes most of these people, like, this is a luxury for them.
Mhm.
So when things come up, those things become priority, or grandmother died, something happened with their family member, spouse is going through, car broke down, all these different things. That we don't ever, that doesn't come top of mind. We make it about us, like, I'm the
Mhm.
problem. Like, I didn't do something right. And
Yeah.
so I think that's so courageous of you. And that's encouraging to somebody else who's a business owner to be like, just go check up on your people, because these are like relationships that you're building with these people.
Mhm.
Especially because your space where you are right now, it's very intimate. And
Yeah.
so you build these connections with these individuals, that is just beyond you doing their nails. And sometimes these people open up to you about different things.
Oh yeah.
And
No.
so that's
No, for sure. But it's something that I just recently learned.
okay.
Because I was always pushing back, and I don't know if you noticed, like me being more comfortable and more open during our appointments too,
Yeah.
because I did push back to where I was like, okay, no, I can't. There's a boundary. There's a boundary I can't cross because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're clients, and I'm like, I don't want there to be this. I was always afraid for like some confrontation of like, like, oh my gosh, what if they want like, what if they come, they think like we're so cool that they don't want to pay me no more, or
Yeah.
there was like
Yeah.
things I would be like, okay, I can't. Like I've had clients that invite me to like their parties and stuff, or
Yeah.
just to anything, and I'd just be like, no, I can't do that. I can't, because they're a client, and I don't want them to feel
Yeah.
too comfortable with me at, and stuff like. And now I regret it so much because I'm just like, man, I could have built like way more of relationships with them.
Yeah.
And it was just me assuming that there was gonna be some type of confrontation, or there was gonna be like some boundary thing,
Yeah.
because at the end, if I felt like, let's say if I did have a client who for some reason decided to not want to pay me or something, like I have to take charge and like confront them, like
Yeah.
I have to be okay with like saying something,
Yeah.
and
You're a
not just,
business owner. This is your business.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was just assuming and never even took the chance to like go to their parties, or
Yeah.
or some to do something more, like I regret that part. Like I really
Yeah.
wish I could have built more relationship with my clients. Um, but yeah, I'm doing better. I'm doing better.
Yeah, because when you do relationship building, that does something for the other person who is getting the service. They want to come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's no longer of money, it's more of our relationship of why I'm coming.
Mm-hmm.
I have my friends ask me all the time, they're like, Brandy, how much you be paying for you? And I'm like, girl, get out my business. Get out my business. Don't be coming over here. But y'all making compliments about my nails. It's my nails. It's my nails, all the things. Like, y'all be complimenting my nails, so don't be coming at me. Bye.
Yeah.
So, because, that's the thing. Like, as you grow and evolve and your craft gets better, you're paying now, you're buying more quality product, stuff that stays on and lasts longer, just different things that you are hearing from your clients, or when they show up, like, hey, girl, this one didn't stay on, blah, blah, blah. Now you're thinking like, okay, that's not the first person who said that. So now I got to start buying quality products, but then that requires more money to be spent in certain areas. And so I got to account for those. I got to pay the rent, the lease, whatever, and things like that. So you're a nail artist. I consider you a nail artist because, baby, you be painting nail art on my nail. I am displaying. I am the gallery of what you do. And so I want you to talk about, because we've talked about this before. Let me put the prefaces on this, honey. When you start telling this story, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna tell them, listen, I was praying to Jesus, Lord, I want my nail tag, but I want you to tell a story.
Okay.
So I want you to tell a little bit about, like, okay, so you've been here up until you're 18. You've been running this business for however long. Tell it. I know this was. I think this was this year or last year. You were confronted with, you had to go get your visa. So
Yeah.
tell us about that. Like, when you got the notification, what you had to do, and what was the emotion? Like, take us through that journey.
So, okay, so long story short, my mom brought me at 8 months to the
Hmm.
US. I was born in Mexico. She brought me at 8 months. And I've been living here my whole life. Like my whole life. I've gone through, kindergarten to high school to, college and everything here. I I I know my language, I know my culture, but when it comes to me going to Mexico, I'm like, oh my God, I'm an outsider over there.
Yeah.
I People are gonna know that I'm more American, you know, if I go over there. Especially my Spanish. My Spanish is like a slang. I have a slang that's more American than over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always felt like I'm Mexican American. Like I'm not just Mexican. I'm Mexican American. And so yeah, I've always been here. When Obama became president, I got DACA, which that helped me have a driver license. It gave me a social. So that's how I was able to, go to college and stuff. Because
Yeah.
I honestly, back then, when I thought about going to college, I didn't even know how I was going to do it. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, you need to have social. You need to have the money. I
Yeah.
just thought scholarships. Like I
Yeah.
always thought, like, okay, I got to be good in school because this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why I always tried really hard at school. But yeah, so with DACA, I had my driver license, I had everything. I was able to go to college and everything. So I never felt the need to get married with my husband during that time. We weren't married. Um, I didn't feel like, oh, I have to get married to get a visa. I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to. First of all, like we didn't get married because we had my son. I never felt like we had to get married because
Yeah.
of that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I didn't want to force that. I didn't think it was like such an important thing. Like, oh, you have a kid now, you have to get married. Like, no.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I had DACA too, and I'm like, I'm able to go to college. I'm able to do this. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, like I still didn't feel the need. Like, oh, we have to get married to get a visa. I didn't feel like I needed the visa. And yeah, I was living my life. Everything was good. I was working at Ulta. I remember I worked there for like 4 months. But I remember getting a call from my mom, and during this time, Trump had become president. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember I got a call from my mom, and she's like, "Yeah, he just ended DACA." And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"What?" And she was like, "Yeah, he just ended DACA, which means like we wouldn't be able to renew it, which meant I wouldn't be able to work anymore. I wouldn't
Mm.
use my IDs. I wouldn't be able to use my social no more."
Wow.
Yeah, and I felt like I remember I started crying. And I remember one of the ladies there, she just like hugged me, and I was just crying. But I was crying because I was like, "Oh my god, what am I gonna do? This is so embarrassing. Like I just started this job, and I have to quit because I don't, like I don't have the required, things like ah." So after that, I remember like talking to my husband, and I was like, "Oh, well, it's time. I guess like now I have to get married. Like now we have to get married." And obviously
Yeah.
we love each other and everything, but I just didn't feel like I didn't want to be forced.
Yeah.
But this situation kind of like forced it to me. And then at the time too, he was working a lot. He was working a lot, so like finding the time for like to get married and all of that, like that was just.
Yeah.
And plus, I wanted to. I still do. I see myself walking down the aisle in a white dress, but you know,
Yeah.
financial stuff and everything. Like we had to like kind of rush it.
Yeah.
So we started planning that out. Started just saving our money. We had to save our money because we didn't know how much all that was going to cost. The fact that we had to
Yeah.
get married, get a lawyer, and then I wasn't sure if I had to go to Mexico or not during this whole time. Um, but yeah, so I remember this whole process took like 3 years. So from the time
Wow.
I found out that DACA was ending and everything, like I remember we moved to Beaumont, Texas, and during that time we got a lawyer, and she like submitted our paper, like the whole paperwork and everything, and we still didn't know if I was gonna go to Mexico or not because
Yeah.
sometimes depending how you arrived depending how you arrive to the US, sometimes you have to go to Mexico and you have to do an
Okay.
interview. Either the interview is going to be here in the US or it's going to be in Mexico.
Okay.
And then later on, I found out, like, yeah, I have to go to Mexico. And I was like, dang, okay. And the reason why it's scary is because they can deny you. They can easily interview you, and whoever's interview you can just be a butt that day. If they woke up on the wrong side of the bed or whatever. If they didn't like how you looked, I don't know. They could easily just be like, "No, I'm sorry, you don't pass," and like you stay in
So
Mexico.
when did you have to go to Mexico? When was that? Was that around the time that you were my nail artist when you had to
Yeah,
go to
I
Mexico?
think I had done your nails maybe like twice because
Yeah.
when I was doing your video, I was like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and yeah, it was like around the time I went to Mexico.
Yeah.
So it was like I think I did your December nails, and then
Yeah.
again for maybe like February for your Valentine's nails because I
Yeah,
had.
it was that year that I made this strong commitment for you to be my nail tech. So
Yeah.
that's when that happened. And let me tell y'all, I was praying to the heavens, to God, Lord, keep her here. But in real talk, when she shared it with me, I told her I would be in prayer for her and that everything will be okay. That everything is going to work out. And I just remember encouraging you and things like that. But in the back of my mind, my subconscious, I was like, listen, Jesus, I done made this commitment. I told you I'm being consistent. And now I done been consistent with this nail tech. You can't do that. You can't do it. So selfishly, I was like, Lord, this is my request. Hear your faithful servant. Please hear your
He heard
faithful
you.
servant.
Heard you. He heard you.
And so I remember when you posted, you went through the interview, and I remember, I remember the announcement that you made, like, hey, I got some personal stuff going on. And of course, a lot of the people who was getting their nails done from by you before, leading up to you um stopping production, I think it was for about a month or so.
Mhm.
That you went and you shared your story on Instagram. about this, this transition, this period in your life, which was very vulnerable
Yeah.
for sure. So, I mean, how did you feel about sharing that?
I feel like I was excited to share it because a lot of when I was dealing with it, when I finally found out that I was gonna go, I started like going on TikTok and I was like searching up how is the interview, what is the interview, like what does that even look like, what does it look like on the inside, on the outside, what do you take, how do you dress, and I had pink hair and I was like, crap, like what, like are they gonna look at my pink hair and just be like, oh no, this girl cannot be in the United States, deny her.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
looking on YouTube and I couldn't find videos. And the videos that I did find, there were some good ones that were like very informative, and there were some that didn't. So I was excited to like share my story.
yeah,
Like who was my lawyer? Because there's like so many little things. Like who was my lawyer? What things do you submit? What things do you take to the interview? What hotel do you stay at? Um, just how much do things cost? There's like so many little things. uh,
yeah,
that and then my situation was different because a lot of people, they came to the US older, and for me it was different. I'm like, I was 8 months, I don't know
yeah,
about Mexico. If they ask me things about Mexico, I'm like, I don't know, like I don't know. And like my mom barely remembers some stuff too.
yeah,
So I was just like super nervous about like how all of that. But yeah, I was excited to share my story because I'm like, at least I can help. And I do. I have a few videos on YouTube, on TikTok, about how and people would ask me on the comments like, oh my god, so how did this go? How long did
yeah,
it take? And I would
yeah,
respond to the videos. So
yeah,
I'm glad that I was able to put my little grain of salt and
yeah.
help others. But yeah, it was. I mean, I wasn't shy. I wasn't scared. I was scared to go, but like to
Yeah,
share.
yeah,
I was excited to share. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was good. I remember seeing all the posts, and I can't wait till you get back home,
Yeah.
girl. We'll see you. We'll see you back in about the next couple of weeks. So,
I got blessed. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was because other people, like for example, my father-in-law, he had to stay there for 3 months, I think. Yeah,
wow.
he had to stay 3 months, and this was like the October before I went, because he
Yeah.
October, and then he didn't come back. Yeah, till like I think at the beginning of the year, and then I had to go in February that
Mm,
year, and so the fact that he had to stay, I was like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do if I end up having to stay? My clients, the salon, the bills,
yeah.
everything. I was like,
Yeah.
and I don't know nothing about over here, but I was kind of like ready too. I was like a little scared, but I was like ready. All right, whatever happens, happens. Things happen for a reason. Let's go. If for
Yeah.
some God wants me to stay over there, like I'll stay. I'll hustle over there. Like I'll do whatever it takes to like make it back over here to the U.S.
Yeah.
out. Even my
Yeah.
brother, like, girl, we'll sneak you back in or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever it is, like I'm gonna do it. But I remember like telling my clients, and I will tell them and stuff, and I'm like, just in case the government's listening on the phone, I am gonna like do a tantrum over there, like speaking to the phone and stuff. I'm like, just in case y'all
Yeah.
deny me, I'm gonna throw a whole tantrum over there. There's
Yeah.
no deny me. I had a little anger inside too. I'm like, there's no way they can deny me. I pay my taxes. I gone to school. I've been a good girl. Never gone to jail. Like there's no
Yeah. Yeah.
way
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
there's no way. But I was nervous because of my pink hair, the tattoos, because they do a whole medical thing over there, and they write down every tattoo, every little tattoo, and they like write it down. It's
Wow.
like, yeah, it's very intense. They like
Yeah.
strip you down, and they're like writing down every little thing, and they're asking you like questions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I was ready, and I don't know. I got blessed because the interview was so easy and so fast. They only asked me maybe like 3 questions, and the lady was just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, here." And they literally give you a green card. I never knew when people say like, "Oh, I have a green card," or they make jokes about having a green card.
Yeah.
I never knew where that joke comes from. And they actually give you a green little piece of paper that tells you that you're approved. And I have a picture when I upload it. I'm holding like a green little piece of paper. But
I
that's
mean,
your
how did that
card.
feel? How did that feel to receive that with all the stereotypes that come with it, the jokes and things. But for
Yeah.
you,
No,
that was what
yeah.
wa- what was
I was
that?
I was happy. I was more happy for other people to know. Like I was like so excited to let my mom know because I know she was like, so nervous and
Yeah,
like letting know my husband and everybody else that like, hey, I made it. Like it's okay, you're fine.
yeah,
Like, cause I knew I was gonna be fine regardless. I was going with the intention, like whatever happens, happens. Like
yeah,
I'll push through. But like for other people, I was like, oh, like I did it. You can stop worrying now.
yeah,
Yeah, I just felt like, whew, like I just felt like relief. Finally, now I can enjoy it. Cause
yeah,
honestly, other people go when they go to Juarez, because that's where the interview is. Everybody's like super scared. I remember my mother-in-law, like she was telling me, like they didn't even leave the hotel because they were scared, like
mm,
leave, because they think like people are gonna see that you're from America and they're gonna like
hmm,
steal your money or want to steal your
yeah,
stuff. Like I had to carry this huge old heavy briefcase everywhere I went. I was like carrying this huge thing full with all my type of paperwork. Like there was nothing that they could say like, oh, you forgot to bring it and we denied you. Like no, I was carrying everything, all my taxes,
wow,
other years, everything, girl. Like everything from school, from when I was kindergarten. Like I had proof of everything. I'm like, if
wow,
they ask, I could pull it out and I could prove to you that whatever.
yeah,
But everybody that goes over there, they're super scared. But for me, girl, we had like the best time. I went with one of my aunts and my
hmm,
son, and we had like the best experience. I was like, I'm not gonna be scared. We went to the nicest restaurants. We went to like the nicest place.
yeah,
I have videos from it, and I want to go back so bad because it's a beautiful experience. Like when people on TikTok tell me like, "Oh my God, like what'd you do?" Da da da, and I'm like,
yeah,
girl or whoever, like just go, don't be scared, like embrace it, have like a good
yeah,
time, enjoy it, try the food, try the places, go to the
yeah,
mall. Like it's fine, it's safe, it's super safe, and make an experience out of it.
yeah.
Don't go scared, because I think the more scared you are, the more nervous you are, and then things just get worse.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. That's good that you're sharing that. And I'm so glad that you shared that because hopefully, this young woman who is having to deal with something very similar that resonates with her regarding your story feels encouraged from that. And I want to, because we're in the last like 10-15 minutes of this episode, and I want to talk about a moment just because you are an entrepreneur, you are a mom, you are a wife, and sharing that with us. Thank you so much. I feel honored for you to share that with me here. But I remember there was a moment in time, and you've had various moments, as I can see, that could have stopped you. But I remember the moment while you were doing my nails. I don't know which set you were doing, and it might have been the one that's coming to mind is the comic book looking ones.
Oh,
And I remember you saying, and at that moment, that was a lot of art that you had to do on each one of my nails. But I remember at that moment when we were talking, you were just like, Brainy, I'm getting to a place like I don't know if I want to, like, I don't know how you said it. You didn't say I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like I'm just not in love with my craft anymore.
yeah.
So it's kind of taking us back to Makeup Mogul or Beauty Mogul Academy. I can't remember what it was
Yeah.
called, but it kind of takes us back to that. Can you share that experience? Because I feel like that's super important regarding your story as well, as much as getting your visa. But there's an entrepreneur that's watching this today that's just like, I'm there.
Yeah.
So, how
um
did you get there? Like, what
so
made that?
I didn't realize how hard I was working. I remember just feeling like tired. I remember like just driving by Hewlin, because this street is Hewlin.
Yeah.
I just remember like not even wanting to pass by it. I'm like, whatever we do, like, can we not go eat over there? Can we like not even pass by the salon? Like,
Mm,
I don't even want to drive today. I don't even want to go to work. I remember like driving like to work and just being like, oh my God. Or like I remember people booking and like my phone would ring, like somebody booking an appointment. I'm like, no, no, why?
yeah.
Like I felt grateful. Like I was like I'm grateful, but like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Like I don't want to work. Like every time I didn't have an appointment, I'd be like, yes, like somebody did in a book. And I was
Yeah.
feeling like that, and I didn't like the feeling of it. But during that time, girl, I have so many classes. Like, I love learning, and I like investing in so many classes, and I'm so behind on so many. And it got to the point where I was like, I couldn't even catch up on my classes. There were just so much things to learn, so much thing that you see online that you have to learn on how to like do social media, how to do your taxes, how to handle pricing, how to handle this and that, and like, there's like so many things, and it just all overwhelmed me. And like during that time too, like it took me 2 years, I think, to finish my website, and I still don't feel like it's finished, but
Yeah.
it overwhelmed me a lot. Right now I'm just kind of like whatever, like whatever, like the website's on, I'll work on it when I can. I'm not gonna like overwhelm myself with it. But during that time I was super overwhelmed, I couldn't get it right. And yeah, so during that time, I was working from like 9 to 9, and the only break that I had was like, I remember getting here like around 8:30. I would leave here at 3 to go pick up my son from school, who got
Yeah.
out at 3. But the school like 10 minutes, so by the time I picked him up, the
Yeah.
car line was ending. But I remember cooking in like 30 minutes, and by the time my husband got home around like 5,
Yeah.
we would eat, and like by 5:25, 5:30, I was like, come on, we gotta go, because my client gets here at 6. We gotta go, the traffic. And so I would work from 6, depending on the nail set, like 6 to 9, and go for 2 years. For 2 years, it was like that, and I didn't realize, like my schedule, that it was just
Yeah.
every day, every day, every day, every day. I was thankful that I had the money and my clients were booking, but I didn't realize how much I was working until one of the girls here. I was doing her nails, and she was like, "Yeah, girl, we see you come in, and you're here before us, and then we leave, and you're still here." And I was like, "Oh wow!" Like, I didn't think people realized or paid attention. I didn't realize how much I was working. I
Yeah.
just I was just working, and it just got to a point where that's when I met my business coach. Shout out
Yeah.
to Jackie, I love you. Um, I saw a post, and her post, and I had a screenshot. I was reading it the other day too, and it said burnout. It said burnout like in big bold letters,
Yeah.
describing like what a burnout was, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out. Like, I'm
Yeah.
tired. I don't like this no more. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't like this. This is not fun. Like, I don't know. And I didn't like it. It was so sad. And I remember just hitting her up. And I took like a few classes from her. And then I was like, I'm going to just invest in this last one. This is
Yeah.
the last call. I'm going to invest in her. And let's see how it goes. And I learned so much from her. And I went
Yeah.
to go see her in Arizona. And she's taught me so much. And even till
Oh,
this,
wow.
but she taught me like what I was going through, and then she kind of like walked me through it. Like, why was I burnt out? Why was I so overwhelmed? And my
Hmm.
confrontation with clients too. That was too. I was so overwhelmed with clients and messaging clients back and forth. And why aren't they booking? Why do I have to message them? Why isn't the website working? I busted 2 years building this website, and people aren't booking online. They're still messaging me. And like there was like so many things, like overwhelming my schedule, and
Yeah.
being a wife, and like having my kid, and it just
Yeah.
everything. I was just like, oh my gosh, like how do I do this? My
Yeah.
whole I remember my resolution for the year. I was like, this year, this 2021 or 2022, like I'm gonna find a balance. And then the
Yeah.
year ended, and I realized there's no balance. There's no balance. Like
Girl, there's no balance. Talk
no, it's
about it.
like no, there's no balance. You have to deal with it every day. There's gonna be
Yeah.
days where you're able to work more, and there's gonna be days where you're able to be with your family more, than
Yeah.
being at work. And there's
Yeah.
days you have time for yourself, and there's just like every day is different. Like every day is different. That's what I realized, and that's what like keeps me kind of like chill. Which like okay, like today I was able to work in the morning. I was able to come and
Yeah.
like get myself glammed up. Like I didn't have time for the kid, but like when I get home, give them all the
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at me
Exactly.
that. And then tomorrow, like probably now I'm gonna be like, okay, kid, let's do something together, because I didn't have
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different. Yesterday, girl, I was so proud of myself. I cooked all day yesterday. I
Yeah.
cooked, I washed dishes, I did laundry, but that was yesterday. Not then today,
Yeah.
an all day work day. Now tomorrow is gonna be, like it's just there's no balance. It's just
Yeah.
different. You gotta find priorities different days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because I was listening to a message. Shout out to Freedom Church because that's some of where this is coming from. But he was talking about there's no balance, there's rhythm. You know, like what are some of the things that are consistent throughout your day that you can do in the morning? You know, like one of them was prayer in the morning, prayer at night. You know, and he there's been a the series that I've been listening to is called Slow Down, and it's talking about like, hey, there's no balance, there's just not like society has it, has it backwards. Like there's no balance, there's rhythms, and then there you build consistency in areas where you can, and then like you said, there's the things that, as you go through, like you don't know if these things are going to happen, but you adjust and pivot as such. And there's days as a wife that sometimes husband is going to give 80 and you're giving 20, and then it ebbs and flows
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you are. Like as a business owner, you're a business owner, but your husband is not a business owner. You own this business. I mean, y'all own the business, but you are the business and the
Yeah.
brand. And he works full time somewhere else, and so there's going to be ebbs and flows. And so how are you managing some of those ebbs and flows through your schedule, your clients, your husband, your kid, and then making time for you? Like, do you make time for you?
So recently I've been going through like I don't know what this era or this what I'm going through right now, because I think I'm past the burnout. I'm starting to feel like that spark again. I've been telling everybody like I want this spark again that I had, that like I wanted to hustle
Hmm.
and I want to work. Like I want to find that again, and I'm starting to feel it again. But that's
Yeah.
because one of the things that my coach taught me was to let go. And
Mm,
she would ask a lot. I would hear her a lot say like, "Who are you? Who are you when there's crickets? Like when people aren't booking?
yeah.
Who are you? Like like who are you when you're not getting what you want?" And I was just like, I don't know who I am. I don't,
Yeah.
because all I know is being a wife and um a mom and then work. I don't know
Yeah.
who Gracie is. Like if you were to ask me like who's Gracie, what do you like? What are you into? Who are your
Yeah.
friends? I'm like, I don't have friends. I always told people, like I always joke, but it's true. Like I don't have friends, I have clients. Like I don't
Yeah. Yeah.
all I have. And like now I took I think it started like in November, like I chilled out. I was like, all right, if people don't book, they don't book. And
Yeah.
if I'm broke, I'm broke. Like I've even been doing like little side jobs that don't even have to do with anything with like the beauty industry. But
Mm,
it's teaching me like to figure out who I am. Do I
yeah.
really like doing what I'm doing? And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely I'm like, oh my God. Like especially like when I have clients like you that come and get all the nail art, I'm like, oh my God, I missed it. I missed it. Like
Yeah.
home, just chilling, not doing when I'm not doing. I've been getting into like other hobbies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like now I'm starting to realize like, oh my God, I do miss it. I'm starting to figure out like what is it that I do like about the business. And
Hmm.
but that's taking me stepping out and letting go a little bit of the business and figuring
Yeah.
out who I am. Because another thing that my coach says a lot, it's like who how you are in your personal is how you're gonna be in your business. She says that
Mm,
a lot. And so I'm just like, okay, this I need to figure out who I am
I am.
before
Yeah.
able to push through my business. So I had to let go of my
Yeah.
business, which I feel like maybe some people notice or not. I stopped posting, you know, and I
Yeah.
stopped on Instagram, and
Yeah.
yeah, I just had to take a step back and like get into like who am I? Like, what do I like?
Yeah.
I'm starting to have friends. I'm starting to travel a little bit, trying to figure out like what is it that I like, what am I into, my style, my music. And
Yeah.
that's where I'm at right now. Right now, that's where I'm at. Like I'm starting to like, who am I? Like who's Gracie? What are you into? And that way I can like get it into my business, which now I'm like, oh, okay, like I could do this for my clients now. I can, like I can do this for the business because
Yeah.
that this is me and I'm not just doing it. Because one thing that Tayana said
Hmm.
that also triggered me was she was what did she say? She said something about like um because we think we see how other businesses are doing. We're kind of like see monkey do,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so she was kind of teaching us how to be a little bit different, and I'm like, wow, I didn't see past just being an entrepreneur, like just having my business. I never thought about like, oh, I can do this online, or I could take my business somewhere else.
Yeah.
It never crossed my mind until she started kind of teaching about it. And so
It
that
was the do, know, grow. It was this
yeah,
triangle because it was the grow, like what can you help people grow in? Do, what is your, I think it was like, what is your service? Do know, grow. And I think know was, oh, teaching someone else what you know. The
yeah,
grow was, can you come out with journals and things like that, or something like that. And then the do was the service, or could you teach a master class and stuff like that, things like
yeah.
that, where
And
she
that
was
never
helping
crossed.
us monetize our business, and like monetize it like online, where she was just like, you don't always have to have butts and seats. She was just like, if that's the case, you're going to eventually have burnout and
Yeah,
be, and put yourself where that's where you're always going to make money. And she was just like, you can't rely on that.
yeah.
COVID should have taught us something to be like, I can't do business the way that I've always done business. And so I appreciate you sharing that with us, to say like, this is where I'm at and I'm still in my journey. That's
Mhm.
the beauty of it. Like, you being vulnerable and saying, I'm still in that journey.
Yeah.
I'm still discovering who Gracie is, so that I can continue to show up authentically myself in every aspect of my business. So, for those of you listening, don't be mad if she don't want to do your basic nails. That's not who she is. And she doesn't find energy or creativity in doing a basic ombre. Don't be booking her for that. Just FYI, don't book, because she's an artist. When I see her get excited when I show up and be like, okay, I want that right there, that right there, that right there. I'm offended at myself when I show up. I be like, girl, you could just do that one little color right there. I'm looking at myself like, girl, this girl like to do art. Don't be playing with her. And so I know that about you. And so I'm always thinking of like, looking at other artists, or being inspired by Pinterest or Instagram, looking at other nail techs and be like, oh, that's really creative. Or I'll see a certain theme or set or something, that I'm like, Gracie, I need you to do that. But I'll have 10 different nails and I'll be like, but I like that one nail. So I want it on
And
this
I love
hand. I
that.
like that.
Love that. I love that because it's not only you. I realized that that's something that I've kind of got it embedded into my clients, because now all of them will bring me their Pinterest board or screenshots, and they're like, I want this nail on this one and this one and this one. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. And if they don't, I'm like, girl, if they tell me like, oh, Gracie, I don't know if this nail or if this one or this one, and I'm
Yeah.
like, girl, we can combine them. Okay,
Yeah.
we don't have to decide on which one. We can combine them. Like, what do you like from this nail? What do you like from this hand? Like, let's
Yeah.
come. And then I noticed, like, little by little, they'll start stepping out of the comfort zone, and they're
Yeah.
you where they come and they're just like, I want this, and this, and this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes,
But
let's
that's
do it.
what you do. That's what makes you, as you're discovering who you are, Gracie, like that's you ignite creativity on someone's hands. Like, I don't know how to say that, and maybe that's not the most elegant way to say it, but it goes back to your doodling. You know what I mean? Like, it's you doodling on someone's hands now. And instead of charging $5, you're charging X amount of dollars. I'm not telling y'all how much I pay. Go to her website and go get your nails done. But you're now doodling on our hands. So it goes back to the origin story. What made you start doing this thing that you're doing today? And I think you going backwards and you taking a step back and saying, it's more than just the business. I'm an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like Erica Badu, I'm sensitive about mine, and so you're an artist. And I think the doodling is something that goes back, it should, or at
Yeah.
least take you back to why you do it. And so my encouragement to anybody who's listening is that sometimes go back to the origin story, and sometimes the origin story can tell you why you started in the first place and where you want to aspire to go. but also do the work that I think is necessary to uncover who you are, so that as you continue to populate your business, you continue to show up authentically like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gracie, we're at time. I think everything you went over was amazing. I am so honored to be able to have you on the show, and thank you for agreeing to be here. Before we go, I want people to know how they can get a hold of you. I think you're having a sale going on right now. And so I just want you to talk a little bit about that. Like, how can people get in contact with you? What's your website? And then talk a little bit about the sale that you have going on right now.
Okay. So you can message me personally. But you can also book online. It's super easy, I hope. Choose your service, choose everything. I include a whole manicure and recently the paraffin wax. Did you get it, Brandy?
No, remember, we didn't have time, girl.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
I owe you that. And we got snacks and wine now. So it's a whole luxury, it's a whole service.
yeah.
And I
Yes.
make up in here also. So if y'all ever need, for any special
Yep.
occasion, I'm your girl. And yeah, I do have a promo right now. It's an $85 encapsulation. So we can encapsulate anything, any type of glitters, art, anything you want. The possibilities are endless. I have drawers full of everything that you can encapsulate. Again, like the creativity is here. So,
So,
yes.
what is your website? Tell us your website, and then tell us how they can find you on Instagram.
So everything's the same. My Facebook, Instagram, and website are gracielisartistry.com. And yeah, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, everything. You can hit me up. And again, you can message me and I will message you back. But Brandy, I want to say thank you so much. Like this that you have going on is
Mhm.
amazing, and you made me realize that I have a story because when you came up to me and asked me if I wanted to do this, and you were telling me like I want you to talk about this or we're gonna talk about this and that, and even right now doing it today, I was like, wow, I do have a story. I do have something to say because my coach always told me like, Gracie, tell your story, and I'm like, what story? Like I haven't gone through nothing. And like you made me realize like, yes, I have gone through stuff and there is things I can talk about and share and help others. So I appreciate that so much. And yeah, I care so much for you and I always look forward to your appointments.
Well, thank you so much, Gracie. That I'm gonna cry, but
Don't cry because we
you
got
know all the things we talked all about it. But thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Thank you to my viewers, my listeners. Thank y'all so much for joining us. And I will see you next Wednesday with our next special guest at 6:30. Talk to y'all later. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Bye, y'all. Okay, let's see here.